think it's, you know, I look at a pistol, at a clock. You gotta find that common when the clock rests. Because you have to have it swing one way, and the other way, and that way you get all the parts and pieces together, so that when the clock rests.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Nursing Home and VAC Committee to order. Roll call. Mike?
Here.
Pamela?
Here.
Kathy Owens?
Here.
Kathy Bright?
Here.
Ron Blue? Here. Okay, Gary Small. Okay, we need a motion to dispense with reading the minutes from previous. Pamela Beckett, Kathy Owens, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll do the EAC budget first. Everybody had a chance to look at it. Stephanie, you said your numbers come up.
Yeah, I believe I forgot you can go ahead and start going through what Gary.
Okay,
I'll tell you where the changes.
okay,
She didn't have everything listed on here, so.
on the income side, tax levy is going from 588,342 to 992,000. Interest income is up a little bit. Instead of 5,000, it's 12,000 because actually they got 11,380 already this year, so that's up. So the total income is going to be $1,004,000. Expense-wise, there's this is different than legal services only shows 5.
I just changed that, Gary.
That goes to what, 30, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was just sitting here.
It's over where you're,
Okay, we wait for Kathy to get hers.
I have to sit in front of Gary, otherwise I forget something.
I'm blind, old. Okay, we're on the second page now, Kathy, with expenses. Okay, top legal services, mine has had 5,000. It needs to be changed to 30,000. Does everybody show 5,000 or show? Yeah, okay, 30,000.
That should be 30
Yes,
for legal services?
yes. Yeah, well, yes, with our conversation when we met with them, they were concerned that they might have to use more legal services this next year with disagreements between us and the county.
So could I just interject
Yeah.
something? Just to catch us all up.
Yep.
So when we left the last meeting, Tom Jensen and you were going to meet with them
We met.
on some other topics and some other questions and some stuff.
Yes.
So these numbers have changed as a result of that conversation.
No, I mean,
This,
The legal service, for sure.
well, no, this was presented before we had that meeting.
yes, they gave us a copy of their budget at the last meeting.
Yes.
And
And one of those questions we had was why the legal services went to $92,000, if I remember.
no, 30,000.
Oh, the 30,000?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
went to 30,000.
Oh, okay, so it's still 30,000.
Yes.
So this document.
This page
That would-
here is.
That would be from their perception of what they may need next year for their legal services.
Okay, honestly.
Okay. And then contract labor. Okay, Stephanie, you read off the actual ones for us, would you
Yeah, I
please?
will get it, and I know why my number was off, because she has that their health and life insurance is going to go down. We all know that's not normally the case.
So if I keep I change it back, I am waiting on final numbers from Melissa, as we all know, that is a fluid
Yeah.
number and does change. But if I put it back to the 62,574, because she had it as 60,000, and they've already spent this year alone.
Now, which one you talking about?
The health and life insurance line, 810001.
Yes.
They've already spent 69,595, so why they think 60,000 is gonna cover it, I'm not sure.
Well, on here, on this sheet, it shows 103.
I added that, and that is one number Melissa gave me. Again, that's not a for sure number,
Yeah.
so it's just
Yeah.
a hypothetical. And then you have, I did have a question I'm waiting to get a response on, is the retiree. I mean, Gary, maybe you know, is there still an employee from the VAC that is retired?
Yes, the secretary that was
Okay.
here when, before Steve,
Got
well,
it.
she was secretary
Okay.
for Steve for a little while, and she's retired.
Okay, so I left that one at 7,500. That one may be a little bit less because we've only paid 4,500. But again, as we all know, health rates, insurance rates do go up. So I put the health and life insurance back to what we budgeted for. Actually, I increased it to 72,412.
For, it-
Yeah, I left it at 24 until I get the exact number. So there will be a change to that as well. So if you can change your health and life insurance number to 72,412,
72,412?
Yeah.
Okay.
because that 100,000 number I got earlier, or late last week, Melissa and I revisited it, and we're gonna get the exact number. And then the health and life insurance for retirees left at 7,500. And now let's go backwards. Liability insurance, right above the health and life insurance, that, left that at 2,000.
Yep.
Employee dishonesty bond, which they're required to have, is at 500. Yes, she dropped it to 2,000. 500, they increased that bond to 500. Software purchase license, they lowered that to 3,000. The property, other expense, she requested $380,000. That's a brand-new line. Clothing, uniforms, logo, she dropped that to 2,000. Office supplies and expenses, I have a small concern here, but she's only requesting 6,000. However, they've already spent 13,000 for the year. Contingency was left at 0. Miscellaneous expenses at 5,000, the same. Programs, like the outreach programs, I believe we've dropped from 6,000 to 3,000. Expo event expenses, again, we've already spent $2,300, but we're only budgeting 15.
Hmm.
Marketing, we've spent 4,400 and we're only budgeting 3,000. Printing, 500, kept that the same. Dues and subscriptions, we're only budgeting 5,000 and we've spent 6,000 this year so far. Education, increased that, or that stayed the same at the 4,000. Postage, they decreased to 200. And the donation expense, I removed that since they have no revenue of donations coming in. Emergency relief, left that at 20,000, however, they've spent 23,000 already. Rent at 58,000. Utilities, they did increase that to 12,000 from 6,000. Internet, they wiped that out to 0. I believe they're incorporating that in all of the utilities. Telephone, kept that the same at 3,000. Transportation rides for the vets, we dropped that to 800. Mileage outreach, we took that up 1,000 to 6,000. Travel, we've increased that, or that stayed the same at 15,000. The transfer to the health insurance, that is for the administrative cost. That number probably will not change by much, if any at all. And then the IT services fees of 2,000 that will get transferred to the general fund. Contractual labor we wiped out, and then the legal services 30,000. So that gets us to the top. So now if you go back down to the the umbrella insurance under the health and life insurance for the retirees. That they increased to $500. Workers' compensation, they increased to 2,000. Payroll, they increased to 215,000. The superintendent, they increased to 91,000. And the bonus payroll merit increased to 40,000. So, the actual total budget with the health and life insurance numbers in there staying the same as from last year, which we know will go up. But currently, as they stand, are at $992,912 with a revenue of $1,004,000.
Why don't you show actual zero for the bonus payroll? Shouldn't it be 25,000?
Yeah, that was paid out already, wasn't it, for this
I think so.
past year?
Yes, it was. I will have to get with payroll and see where it was paid out of. Obviously, there will be a transfer that needs to be done. I'm wondering if it came out of their actual payroll line now. I'll have to get with payroll on that, but yes, that should be 25,000.
Yeah, if you look at actual payroll, it's more than what was budgeted. so
Yes, so
They
it
must
could've
have
just been
taken it out of that.
a cost center issue, yeah.
Any questions on this budget? Mike?
As we know, VAC representative has not come to our meetings. And we understand, got a copy, all of us, copy of the statute as to the autonomy that they have. And I want to commend the committee. I've been on this committee since I've been around forever. And the due diligence that we've been able to provide a roadmap for the spending. End of comment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gary, it was paid out of the regular payroll line, so
Okay.
I'll do a transfer with the committee's approval
Yeah.
to the correct line.
Okay, if no further questions. Ron, you have a question, or we need a motion to send to finance? Ron, Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to nursing home. Budget. Which one am I supposed to look at, original or,
They're both the same, Gary, so.
oh, they, okay.
Yeah, 013, that original for the VAC needs to get passed around and signed by all, please. Both
Oh,
the-
okay.
Both the revenue and expense side.
Okay.
That's why you have two. And in case you lost one. Just kidding. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to stop and have any questions for Kathy, just let me know. So tax levy, she did just leave the same as it was last year, of $1,757,580. Interest income, we did increase it substantially to 40,000, just based upon what we've brought in so far this year. Obviously, the QIP incentive, that was, you remember, that was a new program last year, and we didn't know what kind of revenue it would bring in, which is why we brought in 72,000. So that has been estimated at 79,000. Patient contributions, we did lower that based upon projected that we've made so far this year, down to 415,000. Private pay patients, we increased that to 1.55 million. Again, based on current projections. Public aid recipients, again, another increase to 2.5, based on current projections. The public aid wire transfer, That, it's kind of difficult when the money comes into the treasurer's office, whether it should be a wire or just public aid, because the warrants don't exactly specify which line it should go into, so, because, as you know, they come in ACH, and there's just not a lot of information there, so. But we did move that one back down to 406,000, just based upon what has been deposited in that account so far. Because Kathy, there is no difference between the public aid wire transfer and the public aid recipients, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I believe it was just the way that it was coming in. Checks versus wire transfers. Medicare Part A, we dropped that down to 172,000. Part B, dropped that down to 68.5. Co-insurance Part A, dropped that down to 31.2. Co-insurance Part B, dropped that down to 14,220. Patient insurance pay, we just left that at the 5,000. Hospice payments, which again was a newer program last year, the year before, it's doing well for itself, so we did increase that to 300,000. Transfer from the highway, 10,000 from their risk, the insurance, the risk management transfer of 387,076 for a total, and a fund balance use of 796,137 for a total revenue of 8,531,713. Those transfers will be done by November 1st.
Yeah, I got one question. Kathy, for private pay, what rate did you figure per day for private pay? The rate we're using currently?
Yes, the rate we're using currently.
Okay. Because we should discuss if we're going to raise the private pay rate. We usually raise it some every year.
Okay.
So I mean, it probably isn't going to, well, it could amount to quite a bit of money. You raise it $10 a day.
Which is probably why we budgeted 1.3, and obviously we brought in 1.4, but we did that increase, was it mid-year last year?
No, we had it start, I believe it was,
At the beginning of the fiscal year?
yes.
Okay. And that may not have been incorporated from the past administrator's
Okay.
budget, so.
So I mean, we could cut down cash use if you put in, well, we got to go through the committee, and then the full board has to approve it, and we need to put that on the agenda for November. We probably won't, by the time it goes full board, end of November, so we'll have it take effect like the 1st of January. You need to give them at least 30 days' notice that we're increasing it.
I mean, Gary, we could, if the idea of that is in place, I mean, we could maybe up it to 1.7.
Well, yeah, how many roughly private pay patients do we have on average, Kathy?
Private paid 19 on average.
Roughly $70,000 a year extra.
If I take 19, what did you say, $10 a day?
Yeah.
And it's currently at what? You thought it was at,
Is that what, 225, is it, private pay? Depending on which, it varies from if you have a private room or,
Correct, so it's gonna, there's a difference between the pay depending on what they're getting.
Yes.
Is what it comes down to. So if you want to, if you go in the mean between like 225 and 235, or 240, why don't we just increase it to like 230 to keep the math simple.
Yeah,
or like
increase it,
235.
everybody at 10,
Right.
all the way
okay.
across, each division, room,
So you're looking at 230, let's just use $230.
yeah.
So increase that to 240 then? For the $10 a
Yeah,
day?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 19.
Roughly, yes, it does fluctuate, but yes.
So based upon those numbers, 1.664. So we could change it up to 1.650
Yeah.
by 100,000. One 650,000.
And this will start in January?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we'll have to approve it at our meeting, and then I'll go to full board the end of November, and you should give them at least 30 days notice that we're
Okay.
increasing it.
Okay.
Get you a new fund balance.
So
8631. Fund balance, you should go to 696,137.
Yeah, so you're just going to cut down on fund balance use.
So,
Okay, everybody got that?
okay. Are we ready for expenses?
Yes.
Water engineer, we increased that by 1,500. Cost reporting services, increased that to 10,000. Reemployment screenings, we left that at 500. Professional consultant, we did increase that to 3,000. Contractual services for therapy, Part A, we decreased that down to 110. A new line is computer hardware and switches that IT had presented to Kathy that need to be taken care of out there for $10,000. Medical director salary, that stayed the same. Transfer to the general fund for IT services and maintenance of 42,000. Transfer to any capital improvement that they may make out there is 100,000. Transfer to health insurance for admin expenses, again, left that the same right now. Extra help, we did lower that down to 315,000. PRN help, no benefits, we lowered that to 100,000. Maintenance and repair, the first one, excuse me, is maintenance and repair of equipment. Increased that by 30,000. Do you foresee something needing repaired, Kathy?
At the moment, I can't specifically say something, but I know with, Mike's been letting me know that there are things that need to be looked into
Okay.
that could possibly need to be repaired for next year.
Okay, so hence the increase there.
Yep.
Okay, the second maintenance and repair is for, I believe it's vehicles. Yes, vehicles. we increased that to 45,000, because the van is going to need some work.
And so is the bus.
And the bus,
and the
yes.
van both.
Yes. And then the last, maintenance and repairs on the building, we increased that to 75,000. Due to the unexpected costs that had come up during this year, so. Maintenance contracts, we increased that to 60,000. Inspection fines, left that at 4. Travel, decreased that to 500. Electricity, kept the same at 50. Water sewer, we did leave the same at 20. Maybe we want to increase that a little bit since we have spent, I don't know how much that bill normally is, Kathy.
Okay, we can increase it, just to be safe, to like 22,000.
22,000?
Sure.
Okay. Natural gas, we left that at 25. Telephone at 750. Internet, cable, TV, we did increase that to 12.5. Waste disposal, we increased to 8,000. Pest control, increased that to 900. Medical waste, we lowered that by 1,000. Postage, increased that by 200. Employment ads, we lowered that by 4,500. Education, we kept the same. Dues and subscriptions, we lowered that to 10,000. Marketing, kept the same at 2,500. Patient insurance payments, we did increase that to 25,000. Furniture and bedding expenses, kept it at 20. Provider participation fees, kept that at 100. Medicare Part B ancillary, kept that at 2.25. And this is where we broke out things last year, if you recall, just so we could see like exact, instead of just everything being under nursing supplies. Personal hygiene, we kept that at 25. Office supplies and expenses, at 15. Maintenance supplies at 10,000. Dietary provisions, we did increase it to 600,000. Activity supplies, 3,500. Nursing supplies, we increased that to 75,000. Housekeeping, increased to 16. Laundry, decreased to 5,000. Linens, decreased to 4. Over-the-counter medications, kept that at 5. Nursing medication / pharmacy, we did lower that to 20,000. Office equipment expense, 500. Equipment expense, there's a large increase because, we need 12 new TVs and then also some new computers.
10, I got the list from, what I need from IT, and there's gonna be 10 different computers that we're done with their 5 years.
Okay.
So we need to replace those.
Okay. Medical equipment, we did increase that to 30,000, for 2 more, are they Hoyer?
Yeah, there are 2 Hoyers, 2 sit-to-stands, and 2 wheelchairs.
Okay. Site improvement, we increased that to 110,000. I know she wants to do some outside patio work, and then also there's discussions with IT about door access panels, which will be about another 60,000, I believe it was.
Correct.
Yeah, so 60,000 for that, and then 50,000 for any outside gazebo garden improvements. We got rid of the fund balance use line on the expense side. Health and life insurance, again, just kept those numbers the same until I get the final numbers. Payroll, we did increase that to 4.5. That is not filling all the positions, but that is assuming our census will increase and for any hires that we may have to hire to keep our census up. So we wanted to err on the side of caution and keep the 4.5. Kathy's salary is listed there. And then overtime, we did increase that to 500,000 since we have surpassed last year's budgeted amount. total expenses would be 8,529,313. 529,913. And then I will make the revenue that same amount as well.
Any questions?
On the payroll department, is there a reason that was higher than 4%?
That's been corrected. I'm sorry, that number, I should have said that number out loud. I think when Kathy did it, she was looking at the previous administrator, so that should really be 93.6. Gary, can you make that notation in the?
Oh, but
Yes. For the department administrator salary.
okay, yeah.
So you have that change. And then, did you write a change in there for increasing that revenue side, correct? What was the other change you made?
Oh, yeah. Private pay.
Yes. And that was the only other change you made. Right, I'll give you that in a second. It should be 8,529,313. I can change my fund balance. Fund balance should be 693,737. 737. Again, though, once I get the health insurance rates, by the time it gets to finance, it may change.
I just have one question on the maintenance repair of vehicles. Didn't we just get a new bus? And we got rid of the old little van, right? Or we still have
We have the new van.
the new, yeah.
And the bus just has issues. It breaks down periodically. I don't know how else to put it, and it's not anything in particular. It's just, sometimes it broke down twice on us this past summer when we were taking
Yeah.
residents out to a picnic. So we actually had to leave the bus and then actually take the residents in the van, which took twice as long because of the destination of where we were going. So I'd rather have the money there
Oh,
in case there's a major one. I'm not looking at spending it on the bus if it's not necessary,
Yeah.
but knock on wood, if something goes wrong with it,
Yeah.
I'd rather have a bus that's gonna work to be able to continue to take the residents
Yes.
where we promised them we're gonna take them. And I wanna make sure, being that we're gonna take them to the Festival of Lights, that it's in good condition.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay.
I'm looking at it that respect.
Mike?
I understand that past traditions, we've always had our own vehicles. And the amount of residents that we actually take off premise, we have to have for medical instances with the van.
Yeah.
Now, for the party bus, I'm looking at, would it be more reasonable instead of having to spend possibly $40,000 to $80,000 to just call a livery service and coordinate time like that? I mean, they've got these stretch limousines. What a great treat. Or these party buses.
Well,
And we could save a heck of a lot of money. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I understand handicap accessibility.
yeah, that's the problem.
The buses that I've seen do have lift gates and stuff like that we could coordinate. The comparable, I don't know, the liability,
The worst problem, like NCAT, I don't believe,
they don't have anything quite large enough.
well, I don't believe that they run at night if you're gonna go to the Festival of Lights either.
Correct. Plus, the residents take a lot of pride in being in that bus. Because that bus just screams out where we're from because of the
Okay.
paint job, which I adore. So I would hate honestly to take that away from it. And I'm not saying I'm gonna spend $40,000 to $60,000, but I want it there in case there's a mechanical breakdown, is what it comes down to.
The mileage on that particular vehicle right now, and we have the expertise of Mr. Blue here as to putting money into something like that. Is that reasonable, Ron, do you think? I have vehicles that are 100 years old and also vehicles that are 20 years old, and I don't mind spending the maintenance. I'm just concerned myself, new vehicles. That's the question that I
Well, I
have right
mean,
now.
that one van is probably 15 years old now, at least. But it doesn't have that many miles on it. It's just,
It's there for the purpose, is what it is. It's not something that's run every day. Sometimes it's not run even for a week, but it's there for the purpose of what it's there for. So even though the age of the vehicle may seem like a lot, there's not a lot of road time, other than, and not even long distance. is what
well,
it
that's the
comes down to.
problem. It's not run every day, and it run a short distance, and
Where does it set at? Does it set on concrete all year?
Yes, it does.
Is there any moisture that comes up from the concrete underneath? I mean,
No, there's not. If there was,
there's a lot of
Michael, let me know.
complications there if you got a moist concrete that rusts off underneath of it.
but, you know, it's not a heated building either. So you know there's moisture in there.
Right, I mean, does it sweat the concrete in there or not?
I don't think it sweats, but I mean, you know how it is during the winter and that, it probably does sweat sometimes.
Because you gotta
but-
look at that too. I mean, that hurts your components, any motor vehicle, you know,
Yeah.
any vehicle parts.
Any other questions on the budget? If not, I need a, yeah, Mike,
Move forward to finance, a
Yes.
motion?
need a second? Kathy Bright, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, here's a copy of the original, so I'm gonna pass around if anybody needs to sign. Is there anything else? The only other thing is, Kathy mentioned to me that she found someone that might be interested in, we used to call it, groundskeeper.
Groundskeeper, and that's exactly how he actually worded it too. He used to be a groundskeeper at a different facility. And I think it would be pertinent to have him there now for the main purpose I would love is to have him start painting the inside. So that would be a huge majority of his responsibilities until it was done. But then also at the same time, I've had quirky comments from families about how we have like weeds and whatnot, and to be able to take that and have someone actually, that would be their main goal, is to be just that, the groundskeeper, I think would benefit the appearance of the facility a lot, on top of the fact that we'd be able to get the painting done
And-
sooner than later.
And he'd work under housekeeping.
Correct.
And, I mean, we did do away with one position in housekeeping. the
Correct.
assistant housekeeper.
Correct.
So I mean, we've had this in the past, and this last summer, one of the maintenance men was off most of the summer, so we had one, which I believe you have a second one down
We
there.
do now, yes, absolutely, and it's working out beautifully, but also this groundskeeper would also then be able to maintain the floors with the waxing, so that we have quite it's dull, just because there's not honestly enough people to be able to keep up with something like that. But there again, for appearances, to be able to get everything repainted and then have those floors stripped and re-waxed
Yeah.
would be great.
Now, is he willing to work different shifts?
I am actually talking with him formally on Thursday, but according to his resume, yes.
So I mean, because like, to strip the floors and that, you'd have to work the night shift.
Correct.
This person would be a full-time or a part-time employee.
He'd be full-time.
Full-time
Yeah,
employee.
it would have to be full-time between the painting that I still feel would take priority, and then obviously spring through fall would be the maintaining the weeds and whatnot. Winter would be for the shoveling and clearing of the snow, and then the waxing of the floors. So honestly, with all that, I could definitely see 40 hours a week without a problem.
Okay. Put it back on the agenda. It's not on the agenda today.
Correct.
Just discussion. Okay, anything else? Need a motion to adjourn. Okay. Oh, Bill, do you have any comments? I'm sorry. Can you hear us, or?
Yeah, he can hear us, just, he didn't respond to the last one.
I can see him, but. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Who's the second?
Yeah, Kathy.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.